Previously on Sungrand. Let's go ahead and open that package that I received from Japan. I don't know who sent it. I don't know what it could be. A little pocket watch. That's kind of nice. I don't know why someone would send me that, but it's got an eagle on it. A note here in Japanese. So I'm going to go ahead and boot up translate. It says, wind up the pocket watch. Declare triumphantly Kosetsuna change. Why not? Okay, let's give it a try. So, I guess I wind it? Like that. Kosetsuna change?
Mio, 素晴らしいスーツをお
ジェントルマンレッド
よかな戦士たち洗練された
何が起こったのなんでこんな
力を与えている
待てやめてくださいこの記憶は海賊戦隊ゴカイジャーの呼吸絶対困るわ
天空の星をつかみ上質な
誰だ
お茶を味
誰
わ
が
おう
喋ってるのナレーターさん
邪魔しないでください
はいごめんなさいめんどくさいこのガッグ絶対お金かかりそう
ネクタイは正しく着用してください
高切な紳士ジェントルマン
バイバイ
この番組はグランドスポンスの提供でお送りします。Thank you for joining me today. I'm glad you're here. My name is Jerrel. Today I will be taking a look at the costumes of Super Sentai, specifically the current running team that is on TV at the moment, that is No.1 Sentai Gozyuger. This is a topic that was requested of me from one of my viewers a while back, and so if you are interested in this topic, I'll be covering various teams one at a time. And if there's a specific team that you would like me to cover, please let me know in the comments below. So I'll be taking a look at these costumes from a character design standpoint, looking at the visual elements, the use of color, overall visual expression, materials, and I'll be sharing my thoughts as a fan of Super Sentai. I'll be discussing things such as the materials they use for hero shots and for battle scenes, for choreography, and something that always makes me a little nervous is seeing this sort of choreography that's quite active, and the actors in the suits are rolling around and being thrown on the ground, and it makes me nervous because I look at these suits. I think they look fantastic in terms of their build and their construction. I find that quite fascinating. I've done work in theater and for short films when it comes to costuming, and so I understand how easy it is to damage material. So in general, the suits for Super Sentai use spandex or lycra, and I have a triathlon suit here for when I'm doing physical training. Oops, a little upside down there. And so I know how easy it is to damage one of these suits. It looks fine until you brush up against, the ground or a tree stump a little bit, and suddenly it's all messed up. So I get nervous watching these fight scenes. So for me, it's exciting from another perspective as well. I think you're supposed to ask for engagement. If this video gets 5,000 views ever, then I'll do a video where I wear my triathlon suit. There we go. That's the closest thing I have to a Sentai suit. So I'll be sharing my thoughts and taking a look at a couple different images of these suits, just breaking down what I think is interesting, what I think is cool. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our first image here. This is the overall team, and I think this is the best image to look at, as there's always an introductory hero shot, and I think this is the best one for this team that shows them all side by side. And there's a couple elements that we will point out over the course of the video. This is the battle-ready version of their suits. This is what they use for choreography, and I'll explain how you can tell in just a moment. But you can see this sort of black area here. This is a more lightweight and flexible material than what we see in the close-up hero shots. And a hero shot is something that shows things in greater detail. There's also multiple versions of props. There's props that look better up close to the camera, but they're a little bit more fragile and they don't want those to get damaged. So when the camera is farther back and they are doing fight choreography, they swap those out for battle-ready props and battle-ready versions of their outfits here. This is the battle-ready version. You can tell because it looks a bit more lightweight in terms of this black area here, more flexible, and it can crease a bit more, so it's more appropriate for fight scenes. So I actually quite like this. This is one of the more complex looking suits designs for any team. I would say Q Ranger is one of the more complex suits. All the suits are unique because the characters are all different races from different planets, so the suits fit them differently. And I'm a huge fan of Q Rangers, so I like this. I was first wondering what the deal was with this sort of laser tag target on their chest, and I read into it, and their powers are based on rings. So it makes a lot of sense that there is a ring motif, and you have the representation of the gold here that sort of shows that's the top of the ring that represents that, and that this would be the body of the ring. So I quite like that they've expressed that visually. Now we're looking at the various helmets here. In general, the helmets are always unique unless there's something weird going on. And I just enjoy seeing how the helmets look from team to team. And I'm just going to point out that the visual elements shown to us express the animal that is represented here. We have a wolf, we have the sharp pointed ears, and the jaws here. We have eagle, or some sort of bird, with the shape coming out to the sides and up top. And it's important that these silhouettes of these suits look different, especially when they are in movement as well. And you have the expression of the beak with the rectangle here, but I just love the way the visors look as well. That's cool. This black area is the transparent area through which the actors can see. This is, I think this is the Tyrannosaurus, which I did have to read because I wasn't sure. I'm pretty sure that's Tyrannosaurus, which is interesting because if you're familiar with the original Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin, the Tyrannosaurus belongs to the Red Ranger. So this time it belongs to the yellow. So this one's a little bit more nebulous, but you can see the jawline here, which is pretty good. And you have the unicorn. This one's the clearest and easiest one to understand. I just love that. And we'll discuss this isn't the Pink Ranger. This is the Black Ranger, or the Black Sentai. But this is the clearest one. This is so brilliant. I just love the way they express this visually. You can see the face of the unicorn there with the eyes and the horn. This is quite an elegant solution. It's more effeminate. It doesn't have this harsh angularity like the masculine suits. And if you're unfamiliar with Super Sentai, yellow is often used for a male member of the team. Only one time we've got a pink member of the team, and this is Lion. I had to look this one up. This one was a little bit more nebulous to me as well. I think you can see, okay, now that I'm seeing the shape of the helmet itself, the blue mold, you can see that sort of mane shape, the angularity. Ooh, I just noticed that. Oh, I really like that. Oh yeah. This suit doesn't have it. Oh, you know what? That's a typical round suit, and I'm seeing this a little bit of angularity here with some molding there that kind of look like speed lines that go match the visual theme of the feathery shape here. I quite like that. Okay, I really like the green suit. That's great molding just there. Let's have a look at yellow. Yellow's angular just to have a different silhouette than the other suits. I really like what I'm seeing here. That's just a typical sort of a round shape. I really like that. So let's have a look at the belts. I just love this detailed look that show some sort of claws coming together like that. So it looks like some kind of beast is gone like that and wrapping its claws around the belt. We've seen other teams where their belts look very clunky. I don't necessarily like that big boxy clunky look where it looks like the power gimmick of that team has to interact with the belt, and the belt will open up and things go in and out. And to me, it looks difficult to perform in a suit like that in order to do stunts. And it doesn't look cool to me because it's this big fanny pack. And look, fanny packs are fine. I'm not anti fanny pack here. I'm not anti bum bag. I just think for a suit, something like this that's flatter, closer to the body, but it has some visual communication there. It's saying these are claws or fangs. Something I noticed about the gloves is they have these claws on them as well. So there are two consistent colors, actually three consistent colors, which is a little much. These suits do look busy. The three consistent colors that match across the team are black, obviously, which is generally a neutral color, so you can get away scot-free with that, basically. So that is black, white, and gold. So black and white generally are sort of palette cleanser colors. They're kind of a free pass. You can put those on character designs, and they generally will cleanse the palette and allow you to use other colors. So they're used, white is used sparingly. It helps the feet and the hands stand out. If they were black, they would blend in with the rest of the suit a little too much. And with the white, it helps them stand out, especially in movement as well. Black gloves and boots in movement would be harder to parse visually. Now, there is a little bit that I don't really like here, and that is the foam molding here. I'll call this the armor, the shin pads. They go over this gold trim on the boots, and I don't really like that because it looks a little clumsy to me. Personally, I would have liked the gold to go over the armor. I would have liked that to attach and tuck into that gold armor. Again, I'm not saying that I would do a better job designing these. I think these are fantastic, but I'm just going to do that a little bit just to see what it would be like. Okay, just for my curiosity here. Okay, and let's zoom out. Oh, I do like that. I do like that a little better, and I just realized I'm taking up too much space here, so let's go ahead and shrink, minimize down. I just realized that. My mistake here. Actually, oh yeah. But see, here's the thing. If you were to do that, you would also have to do the same thing for the gloves as well, because as you can see, the armor goes over the cuffs there on the gloves. I kind of prefer this, but this is I am trying not to be negative here. I don't really like how the armor comes down like that with this roundness, because it looks like goo. If it was more angular like the gloves, you see how there's angularity on the gauntlets here, on the gloves, that looks fine. It's this roundness here that makes it look like goo instead of armor, especially on the green one. That's why I don't like it. I think if they had changed the shape, I'd be fine with it. I think if the shape matched the gloves there. So there's a couple different materials they use here, and I'll have to go over this in other images as well, but you have this sort of shiny, you have a shiny material there. Pick my color here. So you have the actual spandex. We'll go to a higher quality image in just a moment, but you have the typical spandex there. You have a patterned material, which is actually inconsistent, and then you have this sort of shiny pleather here. And then you have the foam. So we actually have 4 different materials here. This is its own whole thing as well, so that's a 5th material. But overall I really like this. It's a bit busy, but I think it's cool. They want this to look really spectacular because this is an anniversary series. They are celebrating. This is the 49th team, but they're celebrating 50 years. So there's an interesting use of pink. For some reason, the Sentai designs, for some reason, whenever the white, often the White Ranger is female, for some reason they cannot stop themselves from adding pink to the design. And for some reason, the Black Ranger here has to have pink. Why? Why do you do this? Why do you have to use pink? They're obsessed with adding pink to the female. But for some reason, if the yellow or green Ranger is female, they don't add pink. Why is that? And I think they're afraid that black or white is too plain as a color. It's, again, I mentioned it's more of a palette cleanser when it comes to character design. So let's go ahead. If we were to just use our saturation here, if we were to select, I don't know, reds and magentas, let's go ahead and dial that down. Oh, so I've removed the pink from this suit. Oh, I like the way that looks. Let me know in the comments what you think. That looks cool. Oh no, I really like the way that looks. That's not good. Oh no, obviously I'm not trying to say they've done a bad job. I'm not trying to make fun of them. I'm just trying to say that your pink Your female characters do not need to have pink. I'll turn the lightness up and go to magentas. Let's make it more white. There we go. Oh, that's sick. That looks so sick. I really like that. I accidentally made something that I prefer. Yeah. So if this Black Ranger was just white and black and gold, I think that would be good enough, because you know that if this was a male character, they would have not added another color, but they've added pink because she's female, and I don't think that's necessary. I think it looks better without the pink. That's all I'm going to say there. So this suit, these designs are detail dense. There's a lot to look at here. And you can compare it to one of the previous seasons, and I haven't seen that. So full disclosure, I'm 6 years behind on Super Sentai. I love Super Sentai. It's one of my favorite things in the whole world. But I have to sit down and read the subtitles and pay full attention. And I'm so busy with my game development work that I have not been able to sit down and just read subtitles. So I'm 6 years behind. I'm trying to get caught up on the season from 2019. And I'm doing my work here, and I'm looking back and forth, and I'm trying to read the subtitles, and it's hard, but I have to try to get caught up on Super Sentai. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm trying to get caught up. This is Boon Boonja, and I haven't seen this. Again, I'm behind. I would say like 6 or 7 years ago, the past version of me would have thought this was dumb and not liked it. But for some reason, I just love how expressive it is. I actually like the simplicity, the asymmetrical look of it, but it's not detail dense. It's the exact opposite of the Gozyuger team. I really like that they do very different things. This is so simple. Maybe it's a little too simple, but I actually quite like that. I can discuss this and go over that another time. So let's go ahead and have a look at the suits again here. And I just love the expressiveness. I love the way that the gold on the armor catches the light in a different way. But this is higher quality suits here. This would be the hero suits, and these would be the performing suits, or the battle ready, the performance, the stunt suits. They don't have this dynamic material here in the middle where there is a texture that catches the light in a very different way. You can see it here. We'll have a couple screenshots where we can compare it, but you can see they're kind of like Spider-Man webbing or mesh, and it's a mesh material that looks reflective, and then you can see the material in the way that it catches the light very, very differently. I really like that look. You only see it in close-up hero shots because this to me tells me that this material is probably not that flexible. It's not as stretchy as the spandex, and so they only use this for close-up shots. And to me, it probably tells me that they probably can get damaged pretty easily as well. So again, we see here a better look at the difference in materials. Here you have this sort of shiny pleather type material, or plasticky. It's hard to say because I haven't watched the show that much, but that looks kind of like a raincoat sort of plastic. And this is your typical spandex here. You only see it around the neck and the arms, which to me tells me that the other materials are not comfortable and flexible, and they don't look good in movement when they crease. Around the neck you have that, and around the elbows where you need much range of motion. The shoulders don't matter that much because you have the armor here which covers that, so even if it bunches up and doesn't look good, it's fine. But again, in the performing suits, the stunt suits, you have the spandex there. So the knees have that mesh material as well. You can see it bunching up quite heavily there. Here we look at, I'm sorry if there's spoilers here. I think this is the 6th Ranger. I personally haven't watched this. I have 5 years to watch before I catch up to this. So here we have the stunt suits. And you can see the material here, the black, is more lightweight. It's more flexible. It's not as rigid. And it does not catch the light the same way. When the camera's far back, you can barely tell that this is textured as well. So this is textured. And you can see that he has more range of motion. He's free to move. But I want to discuss detail complexity and detail density, or visual complexity and detail density. Just at a glance, which of these characters looks more powerful to you? in the comments, go ahead and put it, which one looks more powerful. Now, how many of you said the red Sentai looks more powerful? Raise your hands. Okay, now how many of you said the white Sentai looks more powerful? Now, why do you think he looks more powerful? It's because he has more visual complexity and he's more visually dense. He has more visual density. So we have the use of another accent color, this sort of teal here, but primarily he looks more complex because he has trim. He's making use of trim. So on his sort of little overcoat armor, he has gold trim, which is not something that this design has. That already adds another layer of complexity. On the padding here, we have that use of the color trim, which does not appear on this suit. On the helmet, we have more colors. We have the white, teal, gold, and black. And here we only have the gold, red, and black. So more colors. And then to change, to point out here, we have more tonal complexity because we have the black, then we have the white, black, and the gold. And here we only have the red and the gold. And you can see that there's more contrast because we have that black and white. And that makes a character look more powerful. We have visual complexity, detailed density. You increase those things, a character looks more powerful. Here we're going to have a look at the Black Ranger, and I'm just going to humor myself here again. I don't know why I'm doing this. I mean, there's no point, but I just want to see what that looks like. Oh, I think that design looks better without the pink. Okay. This is the character right after the henshin process, the transformation. This webbing, it has a sort of like a plasticky, not in a bad way, shimmer to it. It sort of shimmers, it catches the light at sharper angles, it has a brightness to it, and then it seems to be sort of a mesh over a softer, a more matte material. So this is right after the henshin. The camera is close. We can see the material up close. We can see, oh, it's quite, yeah, on the armor here is at an angle. It's tapered at an angle. That looks really cool. And then a few moments later, oh, the arms look different. Oh, that's not like a cloth material. Okay, but up there, I see. Now, a moment later, in another scene, we can have a close-up at her suit, and it's no longer that mesh material. It is this lightweight, more flexible, more stretchy spandex. So that's interesting. You can notice it's. I've not seen a season where this sort of suit difference was as noticeable. This is the most noticeable that I've seen a suit difference when it comes to Super Sentai. It's just interesting that this is something they consider. And I'm noticing that her spandex material is actually a different color. The other members will have a consistent color from the body to the arms and the neck, but here on the Black Ranger, it's a gray. That's an interesting difference. It just adds a little bit more color dynamic to that character. Seems like they were just worried about the character looking plain, but I think she looks great even without the pink. Here, now this looks like a third material, a totally different material. So I'm not sure if they have yet another different version of the suit. This looks totally different. This actually looks a little heavier than the spandex, but it's not the same as that hero suit. We see some piping here, which is quite noticeable, and that looks good. And that's something that I noticed in the other suits as well. You don't necessarily see it on the webbing suit. I'll just call that the mesh suit, but here you can see piping visible on the suits, and it just adds a little bit of visual interest. This is not something they generally do on other suits. I do like this, and I kind of feel like maybe they're taking a cue from Marvel suits. A lot of piping, a lot of lines. That's something that we see in Marvel suits and Marvel MCU stuff. You can see the piping there as well. There's no point to it. It just adds visual interest. So let's go back to where we were. And this is fascinating. This looks like It's not as heavy as the webbing mesh, not as light as the spandex, but you can see it carries over to the arm here. But then we have the red lightweight spandex here and here. There we go. Interesting. Now this is taken from a 10-minute special where the red Gozyuger meets the other anniversary team members, and you can see that heavy mesh there. It's such an interesting look. It's so cool. I noticed this, the back of the suit. For a second, I thought they were using Velcro because it's quite thick. But I think, obviously, you know, they wouldn't use Velcro because Velcro can damage the material that it is attached to very easily. It's grabby. Well, Velcro is the brand. The actual product is hook and loop fastener. And a hook and loop fastener can grab the fabric and damage it. So that's where they would put the zipper. I think suits like the Gokaiger suits are very fortunate because they have the coats, and the coats can cover the zippers and all that. I just thought it was interesting that you can sort of see where that is there. And just to wrap things up, I'm going to show just an out of context what is going on. You don't know what's going on. I haven't seen it. I believe at this point the 6th member has joined. The 6th member has this headband here. I think maybe they're doing some kind of race. I just think this out of context is so funny. All right. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. I thought all of this is so interesting. I really like these suits. They're so cool. I'm not doing ratings. I don't do a rating system. I just think it's so cool that there's the visual motif of the ring. There's a connection to animals with the claws, the gloves have fangs on them. The helmet molds, fantastic. They're really great. This is highly marketable, very attractive suits. They are refined, streamlined, and they've really considered the hero shots and the performance suits, the stunt suits. This looks so cool. It's funny. There's only one female member to the team here. Huh. I kind of like I like the 3-2 balance. I'm not sure if other teams have like a 2-3 balance, but I like a 3-2, you know, 3 males and then 2 females, and the 6th member comes in. Sometimes he's some sort of alien from another planet, or he's some sort of robot that wants to learn what love is, you know, that sort of thing. I don't know. Please no spoilers in the comments. I have not seen the season. Oh, there also are gold accents on the boots to make it look like there's claws. That's just fun. There's so cool details. This is so visually coherent. I'm really enjoying this. Okay, I got it. I'm trying to catch up. I'm 6 years behind. Thanks very much for watching. If you enjoyed this, please let me know. And if there's other teams you want me to cover, let me know in the comments. Take care. Okay, be well. Thanks. Just a special thank you to my Patreon supporters. Thanks very much. I've got a couple of games that I've developed are on screen here, and then I'll show some other videos. And if you'd like to just hang out with me, spend a little more time on the channel, there will be videos on the screen. Thanks very much. Take care of yourself.